Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me for my Holiday Head Start series. Today we are going to make a couple projects using this stamp set from Stampendous. It's called Holiday Birds. What I love about the stamp set is that it's a stamp and die set. But that little holly berry die will cut out both the holly berries on each of the images, which is so lovely. I love dimension on cards, and so this is a great way to do that. We're going to do a little bit of stamping, so I'm going to just grab my mini Misty and a piece of Canson XL watercolor cardstock here. I'll place my image inside my Misty and then I'll ink it up with some VersaFine Onyx black ink. We're going to be doing some watercoloring today, so this ink works great for watercolors. Normally I like to heat emboss it with watercolor, so I thought I'd go outside my comfort zone and see if I could do it without the embossing. I'm going to stamp the image a second time, making sure that the little holly berry is crisp, because I'm only going to color the berry on the second image. I'll clean off my stamp and I'll grab our second bird. I did leave the coloring in, and so I'm going to color both of these at the same time for you guys, but I'll just flip my panel over, and I have to scoot it down just a bit. I was afraid when I die cut it out that they were going to hit each other. So I'll ink that up and stamp that. Now the watercolors that I'm going to be using today are from Simon Says Stamp, and they're a Daniel Smith watercolor dot palette. These are not too expensive. If you're familiar with the Daniel Smith watercolors, they can be kind of pricey. I only have one tube, and it was a $12 tube, and so these dot palettes are fantastic if you want to try them out. I've had this one for a while. I grab my paintbrush and a little dish of water. We're just going to zoom in and get to coloring. Now I'm going to play a little bit of music while I color, and I did leave the colors that I used of the watercolor paints up on top for you guys. And I want to apologize ahead of time because I did go out of camera view a few times, and I'm so sorry about that. Next time I will double check. But for the most part, I'm in view. I keep scooting it up, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. But I'm going to play some music, and I will catch you back in just a little bit. Okay, images are all colored in, and it was so fun to color. I'm not a watercolor expert by no means, and the nice thing about these images is there's shading on there for you, and so you don't have to do much. All you have to do is just add your color. But I'm going to use the coordinating dies and cut out everything. We'll just punch those little pieces out. The nice thing about the dies is they cut all the way to the line. Now I wasn't sure how it would do with the little pine needles on the images, but the detail is amazing with the dies. But next I'm going to pop up my little holly berries with some dimensional adhesive. And then these layer right on top of each of the little birdie images. I just love that. I think that's the neatest idea. So you have one die for both of the images. I'm going to give you a close-up of what they look like. Okay, now we're going to set those aside. Since we are making tags, I'm going to take a tag die for my stash. I've had this for a while. It's a tag die by C&CT, and I cut out 4 tags. We're going to do some heat embossing, so I'm using my anti-static powder tool and going over the top of them. The cardstock that I'm using is actually the watercolor cardstock that I use to stamp my birds on. It's the Canson XL. I like the color of it. I think it's a real creamy vanilla color, and then the weight is perfect too. So I thought, well, why not use it? And it also has a little bit of texture, which is lovely. After I stamped the sentiment that says Season's Greetings, I thought we'd add some little accents with the Pine Needle Flourish in the stamp set. So using my image as a guide, I'm just going to stamp a few of these pine needles directly on my tag. Now I stamped with VersaFine ink, and then I'm going to use some embossing powder. This is Simon Says Stamp's gold embossing powder, and I'm just going over it. Now I like using the VersaFine with the gold. When you heat set it, you can't even tell that there's black behind it, but I like to be able to see where I'm stamping, and so the VersaFine works great for that. Now for the inside, there's a second sentiment that's in the stamp set, and it's so pretty. It's called it says warmest thoughts and best wishes for a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. I thought that would be perfect for the inside of the tag. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that, and then add that gold embossing powder on the inside of those as well. We're going to go ahead and melt everything. Once everything's melted, we're going to build our tags. I'm going to take some glue. I'm using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm actually going to score so the bottom portion will fold over easy. Since the Canson watercolor cardstock is on the heavier weight side, scoring really helps. Once they're scored, I'll take my glue and go over that top area, and then we'll just take that top piece and layer them both together. Now when I did heat emboss, my watercolor cardstock kind of warped a bit, but it does flatten out, so I wasn't too worried about that. Now just to give it a little something, I decided to add an eyelet for my tag. I used a gray one. Now if I had gold, I probably would have used gold, but I didn't have gold. I just set it with a gray one. But those are my tags. Now we're going to go ahead and add some dimensional adhesive behind our images, and we'll pop them up and place them on our tags. I just like the soft, well, the off-white with the gold. I just think it looks so pretty. I'm going to grab some ribbon that I had in my stash for a while. I'm just going to loop it around the opening for my tag there, and I'll tie a bow on top. And I'll do that to both of them. This ribbon here is like a gold sheer ribbon, and then it has a gold lining on both sides, or both edges. After we have our bows tied, I'm going to take some twine. This is gold twine. I believe I picked this up at Walmart, and I call this my tag twine because the ends of this fray when you cut it. And so I don't mind it on a tag if it frays because it looks kind of like a tassel. But I just tied a knot on one end, and then I trimmed it down, and you can see when it frays it kind of looks like a tassel. So that's my tassel twine. Now I added a string to both of them. That way I have a place to add my tag to my gift. And then for a little bit of sparkle, I'm going to go in with some Nuvo Honey Gold glitter drops over the pine cones. And also there's some little berries on that little wood stump that the cardinal's on. I'll add a few dots here and there with that gold too. After we have that done, I'm going to go in with some Nuvo Jewel Drops. These are Strawberry Coulis. Now when these will dry transparent or translucent, but it's going to give those little berries on my holly leaves some dimension because they don't flatten, and it's going to really pick up that red behind it, especially when it dries. If you guys want to visit my blog for close-up pictures, you'll see details there. But there's my tags for today. Something a little bit different than a card. I don't think I've ever made a tag for you guys, but you can never have too many during the holiday season, so I thought this would be really fun. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I wish you a wonderful, fantastic day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.